it up somehow.
Okay, my Straight Talk family, let's keep moving on. It's that time when we welcome you to another edition of Straight Talk. At that time when I say a very special night to my Straight Talk family in St. Kitts and Nevis, and my Straight Talk family all over the globe. And I want to say a special, very special night to Nevis tonight. And I want to just remind you that Nevis holds a special place in my heart, because I always tell people that I'm a Nevisian born in St. Kitts. So a very special night to all my Straight Talk family in Nevis, and a matter of fact throughout the entire eastern Caribbean region, as far down south as Guyana, on the South American mainland, Venezuela, come up to Trinidad and Tobago, and we come all the way up north to Barbados, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, and as well Martinique in Guadeloupe. I touched base with a good friend of mine in Guadeloupe today. Just he's listening. Bonsoir, mon frère. And Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, I always keep past you. I don't know why. Forgive me for that. Then we go to St. Eustatia, Saba, St. Bartholomew, St. Martin, Anguilla, the BVI, British Virgin Islands, Totola and Igada, Virgin Gorda, the USVI, St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix, also the Puerto Rico. And we go to the mainlands, because we are on the World Wide Web, and we touch our diaspora in Africa, in Asia, in Europe, and all over North America. I can say good night, I can say good morning, and I will say good afternoon, because one of such greetings is applicable to the region in which you now find yourself. And I always like to cover the for first timers. We do have first timers each time round. And I must inform you, if you're a first timer, welcome to this public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let us in the process strive to get St. Kitts and Nevis back to that enviable position of being number one in the entire world. Let's say the entire world, or being one of the freest countries, I should say, in the entire world. It's a Himalayan task, but let's try. Nothing beats a failure but a trial. The sort of leadership we have, it's going to be a tough ask, but let us try. And I want to thank all of you for spreading the link. And we need to spread the link so we can connect all over the world to some folks who just may not have heard of Straight Talk, the program on which we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another day. And I've been given all kinds of labels, but I want to just inform you that as your host, I intend to remain an untiring advocate of truthfulness. On this program, nothing is watered down in any way, shape, or form, whether by omission or exaggeration. We don't get into sensations or get sensational to make our program more interesting. No, we don't. I just consider it my duty to always present the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, nothing but the truth, especially when it comes to governance in my country. I hail the young brigade, the young Straight Talk brigade as well. Dwayne, young Dwayne, said, Papa, Papa. I hail Tristan. Hope you reminded your mom today is Monday and it's time for Straight Talk. Shamar, over there in Frigate Bay, I trust you are doing well in school. So to Kevin Hanley over there in Nevis and all the young brigade. Some may not want me to call their names. And I must touch this special lady in St. Louis. Everybody asks me, who is this special lady in St. Louis? She'll be on the program one time. We will connect her and you'll find out who she is. But you all know who she is. But we'll connect one time. On a sad note, I learnt of the passing of Mrs. Elmer Williams of Old Road in St. Kitts. And I wish to extend condolences to her entire family. Her husband, Mr. Vincent Williams of Main Street there in Old Road. Her daughters Kay and Terry, also her granddaughter, inclusive of my daughter Shalice. Brother Dr. Clive Otley and his wife Carmen Otley, also his sister Miss Irma Otley. And I do believe that condolences are extended to all others as well who have lost loved ones. I may not have heard of the names, but in the event you have lost loved ones, we heard of the passing of Emma Baz's name. I knew him a long time ago, and to his brother and his entire family, we extend our condolences as well. And I say I can say anything. But I'm always reminded that Jimmy Cliff sang that famous song, Who Feels It Knows It. So I can tell you anything, but you are the ones who feel it and you know it better than any one of us. But just to let you know that death is a process. We normally get into our observations in review, a time when we highlight the issues of the day, then do some reflection. We may then ask a few questions, such as what was accomplished, how has it helped others, what has changed since, and what can be expected next. Also, what new we have learned as a people, because it's a learning process. It's a process in which we strive to continuously improve. And our first observation relates to something that I've stated right here on numerous occasions. And that is, government is continuous. And that should not be difficult to understand. It is therefore very unfortunate that here in St. Kitts and Nevis, the Jew Labor Administration still has a serious issue in recognizing the work that was done by their predecessors while in office for some years. The former Prime Minister, Dr. Denzel Douglas, no doubt, understands that because of his long experience at the helm of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and his Labour administration. And he understands that governments are successive and should not be looked at in isolation. And like I've said before, that government is continuous. And Douglas demonstrated that understanding, I believe, when he implored his cabinet colleagues to get going with the solar energy project that was signed under the Team Unity administration. And Douglas begged his colleagues to get going.
Get going with the solar plant we are trying to establish here. That's what we want to do. And we want to encourage countries who are friendly to us to assist us in this regard. Last week, I haven't told you yet, I had a call from the ambassador of Germany, who is in Barbados, serving in Trinidad and Tobago, serving St. Kitts and Nevis, about their support for solar. This is important. So we need to get going with what we're doing. Get it done so that we can have better lives. People over there want to help us. Get it done.
And my Straight Talk family, instead of getting the solar project going, Dr. Jew has lied on so many occasions about renegotiating the agreement with Leclanche, one of the largest, if not the largest, battery manufacturer in the world. And Jew has lied so often, and he kept saying this.
We want to get away from fossil fuel and go to renewable energy, because renewable energy is the way out. It does not go up and down. That is why we have renegotiated the solar plant and looking for other opportunities.
And my Straight Talk family, Dr. Jew lied to the country about the solar plant. And in the process, he has deprived us of a golden opportunity to get cheaper energy. And that required no capital outlay from the government. The public-private partnership, the PPP as it is called, would have already delivered the largest solar plant in the entire Eastern Caribbean that would have provided 36 megawatts of base load for the Nevis power plant. And base load is the capacity or the amount of energy required during the peak period and at a steady rate. Instead, what we have is constant unscheduled outages that create much rather inconvenience, I should say, for all of us, and continuously damage our appliances and equipment. Notwithstanding that, however, I must commend Dr. Douglas, our current Minister of Foreign Affairs, who has continued the foreign policy of the Team Unity administration. Dr. Douglas recently signed, according to his Facebook post, an agreement with the Republic of Zimbabwe for mutual visa exemption for holders of diplomatic, official, and ordinary passports, my Straight Talk family. And this continues the policy inherited from the Team Unity administration, which seeks to expand its diplomatic footprint all over the world. But I vividly recall, as I was humbled and honored to have signed the joint communique that first established diplomatic relations with the Republic of Zimbabwe back in November of 2021. And my Straight Talk family, it started with your humble servant. Like I said, government is continuous. My second observation relates to the many citizens that have contacted Straight Talk to establish the reasons for Samuel Duggins, the Minister of Agriculture, and his entourage to travel to the United States of America to visit what we call, in local parlance, the Tabasco hot sauce plant. And we saw pictures coming from his tour that we understand was led by Hadia Claxton, a special envoy to St. Kitts and Nevis for investment, development, and international business relations, who is also the chief legal officer of McElhenney Company, the manufacturer of Tabasco brand food products. The delegation, as you can see, comprised of the Minister of Agriculture, his Permanent Secretary Miguel Fleming, and Technical Officer Ronald Banky King. But my Straight Talk family, Kittitians and Nevisians, I'm sure you will agree, like their food spicy. We love our spicy foods. And surely would instead choose or go for the many local hot sauces like Brimstone Hill, like Llewellyn's, like Two A's, and others. So what has been the outcome of this visit by the Minister of Agriculture is a question we ask. What benefits have been derived for our farmers? Is Samuel Duggins, beg your pardon, bringing a Tabasco plant to St. Kitts and Nevis? And these are some of the questions that have been asked. So why didn't Samuel Duggins include our local producers as part of his delegation? If you go onto the supermarket shelves, you'll find our local hot sauces on display. You'll find brimstone flavor. You can see that in the left corner. You can find 2A and Llewellyn's pepper sauce on the supermarket shelves. So what? What was really the expected outcome of Samal's visit to Tabasco? And you can see Tabasco in the top left-hand corner there. Very limited amount in comparison to all the hot sauces from Trinidad and Tobago, from Jamaica, and proudly displayed on the second shelf there, our local pepper sauces. And we must feel proud about that. And this is the real issue the country is suddenly facing. And that is the frequent travel of these ministers of government at taxpayers' expense. It has become alarming. So alarming that just last week, 5 of these ministers were overseas. Dr. Drew, Congress Maynard, Denzel Douglas, Marsha Henderson, and Joel Clark. They were all out on overseas travel simultaneously. And that is really unheard of in our country. Additionally, the country is unaware of what is done on these trips, what benefits are being derived. Because the ministers provide no report on their extensive overseas travel, so it must be reasonable to assume that they achieve nothing and or there were no positive outcomes from these trips. And we perhaps can just label them as joyrides. Last week, Thursday, in our next observation, Dr. Drew hosted one of his quote-unquote roundtable sessions with what many have labeled his hand-picked palace guards who field some dollyhouse questions each time, beg your pardon. And many citizens were looking forward to an update from Dr. Drew in respect of the details on the recall of the ambassador and permanent representative to the United Nations, because news of which came to us out of Grenada almost 2 weeks ago, when I think it was Callisto Faria who filed this report when we got the news about this recall.
The St. Kitts and Nevis government announced late Wednesday that it is recalling its United Nations ambassador for consultations. The official statement did not go into details about the reasons for the recall, but announced that it has identified an interim representative.
All the work that I do is about having the visibility.
The Terence Drew administration appointed Nevis Dockery to the ambassadorship a year ago, and only a few days ago was seen posing for photos with members of different delegations at the UN General Assembly. She was with the delegation in the Assembly Hall when the Prime Minister addressed the UN General Assembly last week. But in recent days, a series of cryptic posts were put on a Facebook page people close to her confirm is her authentic page. One post declared that the ambassador was on a strike until justice is served. Another post referred to character assassination. In yet another, the post appeared to be daring the authorities to take her before the Public Service Commission. Foreign Affairs Minister Denzel Douglas could not be reached for comment.
My Straight Talk family, much to the surprise of citizens, there was not one word from Dr. Drew, our Prime Minister, about the recall at his roundtable session. After all, Dr. Drew in the past never shied away from UN issues, especially when he was politicking on talk radio. Remember this, my Straight Talk family.
The ambassador to the UN I'm going to the UN soon. He had enough time to resign and make his trip home, and I would have to recall him.
And my Straight Talk family, who would believe, however, that after the unforgivable behavior of UN Ambassador Shiverton Dockery that brought the Federation into disrepute, Dr. Drew would report to the country that all went extremely well at the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly, at which he made a presentation.
I also traveled to the United Nations General Assembly. That is one of the activities of the Prime Minister's office, and the Prime Minister, that is extremely important. There at the United Nations, I had the opportunity to listen to world leaders and to also make a presentation. And so I think that our United Nations meeting went extremely well.
And yes, my Straight Dog family, Dr. Drew is correct. It went extremely well because Ambassador Nevis Shiverton Dockery is back at her post in New York, and Dr. Drew has much to explain to the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. But my Straight Talk family, those are my observations in review for tonight. But the letter leads me right into my thesis, which I have titled A Democracy in Darkness After 40 Years Rule of Law under Duress. Now, while compiling my notes for tonight's discussion on Straight Talk, I could not help but to think about two main issues for tonight, one of which is the return to New York of United Nations Ambassador and permanent representative for St. Kitts and Nevis, or to St. Kitts and Nevis, or for St. Kitts and Nevis to the United Nations, I think it is, Her Excellency Nevis Shiverton Dockery. United Nations Ambassador threatened, we are told, to expose all the dirty linen in Dr. Drew's closet and to bring down his administration. He threatened to talk about how the government got into office, where they got money from and how much. And she really did, we understand, let Dr. Drew and his colleagues to know that if she goes, the government goes with her. Prime Minister Drew therefore owes to the Federation an explanation. He needs to let us know why has the ambassador returned to her post after her despicable behavior at the United Nations General Assembly. Also dominating the news is what long-standing reputable news organizations like the Washington Post, for example, have labeled the Israel-Hamas war. Though many ask, how can there be a war when only one side has an army? Meanwhile, the Democratic Socialists of America, which boasts some 6 members who are representatives of the U.S. House of Representatives or Congress, announced their pro-Palestine rally at a pro-Palestine rally in New York City Times Square yesterday, Sunday, that they support Hamas, or they support the Palestine, or they're pro-Palestine, to use their words. Condemnation of the assault on Israel, meanwhile, have come from two CARICOM members of the United Nations, namely Jamaica, also Antigua and Barbuda, whereas St. Kitts Nevis has kept its silence on this matter. But it would be interesting to hear the CARICOM position, although it is difficult to condone violence of any shape or form. But the world continues to be divided into competing spheres of Eastern and Western power, which many pundits believe has derived from a new Cold War coupled with leftovers from the last one. As we speak, the UN Security Council is in emergency session as member nations are once again locked in a global battle, pitting democracy against autocracy. President Biden once revealed that Chinese President Xi Jinping cautioned him that democracies are on decline and that one day autocracies will run the world. Biden said that when President Xi called him on election night to offer congratulations, Xi repeated what he said to Biden many times before, to wit, democracies cannot be sustained in the 21st century. Autocracies will run the world. And this is my point of departure tonight as I concur. I agree with the many pundits all over the globe that democracy requires consensus, unity, and it takes time. It takes maturity. And in today's world, we do not have much more time available to us. And I have come to that conclusion because after 40 years of independence, the future of our democracy here in St. Kitts and Nevis must give all of us great cause for concern. Think about what I call the commonality of problems in the world that affect all of us as we live in a global village, which is one of the lessons we learned, or we must have learned, from COVID-19. Think of poverty, my straight dog family. Global poverty, we can say there is a strong demarcation when it comes to the economic conditions between the global north and the global south. However, the prevalence is a lot more in African countries, and most importantly, India. Although major steps have been taken to combat the problem, poverty has left a trail of destruction in its path. It is estimated that over 1.3 billion people across the globe live in destitute areas, often survive on $1.25 a day or even less. Victims of poverty often survive on 1 or 2 meals a day. Here in St. Kitts and Nevis, life is hard. And this warning came from our guest speaker at this year's Prime Minister's lecture, Professor Psyche Southwell. And we know her well. And Psyche said this to us all.
Poverty remains a prevalent problem in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is one of those social issues that, despite the fact I don't work in the field directly anymore, it is still near and dear to my heart. And in my opinion, the inequalities and injustices perpetuated by poverty are our greatest threats to growth, development, and sustainability. The very theme that is anchoring our entire independence for the year 40. It was through my membership, right, with Amartya Sen's Capability Society that I finally found and embraced an understanding of poverty that connected the dots for me. It connected the dots for me because it made sense in the world that reared me. And one of the things I left and take with me in every field, you hear me do a lot of things. Everything that I do is how we understand the problems. And hear this. The way that we define problems directly shape the solutions that we put forward. Policies and programs often fail. And they don't fail because they are not good ideas. They don't fail because they're not well-intentioned. They fail because they don't actually match or address the problem at hand. And if we continue, my friends, to define poverty solely as a lack of income or a lowness of resources, every policy will fail. Every anti-poverty program will fail to eradicate poverty if we're only looking at resources.
I wonder if Dr. Drew got that message. But there's also gender equality. Despite making up half of the world population, there have always been social barriers to their overall development. Even though there have been many social movements demanding equality for women, there is still a long way to go. Food scarcity, my Stray Dog family. A major global concern, the number of people going to bed on a hungry stomach is increasing as we speak. It is because of food that all health-related problems arise. With economic instability and very little money being produced, it will inevitably lead to food scarcity in the world, my Stray Dog family. Here in St. Kitts and Nevis, this single mother cried out to our Prime Minister, Dr. Drew, for help. She cried publicly, my Stray Dog family.
Imagine you go to the supermarket to shop, say for a month. You pick up 6 tins of milk, that costs you $30. You pick up at least a 5-pound packet of chicken wings, that's $22.50. Okay, local fish, $10 per pound. You say average about 3 pounds, that's $30. You have onion, garlic, egg, toilet paper, toilet soap, cooking gas. You buy a small tank, that's $30. House rent is about at least $700 a month. You got children, it's cereal. By the time you finish those first things that I call out, add up to about at $842. You want some some sweet potatoes, it's $5 a pound. You don't have a breadfruit tree, it's $5 for a bread. So you understand how hard it is for the basic pay, a little over $3,000 a month, and you have to spend that. Somebody who don't have their own house and parents, you have electricity and that stuff. You know, it's getting tougher and tougher and tougher. Imagine a little tin of sardine for $5. It's ridiculous, Mr. Prime Minister, and we really need a help, but we do have a rough time.
Yes. Many do have a rough time here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And there's no self-sufficiency in our food. We import everything, down to the very coconuts that we drink. Remember the coconut walk on Pinnis Beach years ago? That coconut walk in that area going to Gibbons Pasture in the Deep area? This government has provided no solutions. Not one solution, my Stray Dog family. And Dr. Drew only addressed the cost of sardines, which according to him, the government cannot control. And the trader has to make a profit. Could you imagine this response from the Prime Minister?
When the sardine goes up at the manufacturer's end, we have to import that. We don't make sardine here, we import the sardine. If you have increasing food internationally, it will be reflected here. We can't control so much how much a sardine is bought for in America. And we can cut out all the taxes that we want. It can still come in at a cost, and the trader has to make a profit. They have to ship it.
Trader has to make a profit. Climate change, My straight talk family, we are all familiar with that term. At the surface level, weather conditions are so unpredictable. Destructible floods and rising sea levels. And I can tell you climate change is real. And that calls for large-scale intervention. The United Nations has repeatedly emphasized the need to use renewable energy. However, economic problems of most countries act as a hindrance, an impediment. The water crisis all over the world cannot be overemphasized. In St. Kitts and Nevis, it's politicized. But according to the World Economic Forum, the water crisis is one of the most important crises in the world. But my straight dog family, we have a leader and the Prime Minister who speaks glibly, and in spite of his many pledges, he has been found to be insincere and I dare say shallow.
We made a pledge to govern with transparency, integrity, and accountability, and we intend to continue to keep that pledge.
My straight talk family, Dr. Joe speaks a lot about transparency and accountability, but operates best under the cloak of darkness. He talks about integrity in public life, freedom of information, transparency, and the rule of law. But these are just buzzwords that all contradict with his actions. My straight talk family. From the moment Dr. Drew assumed the office of Prime Minister over a year ago, our democracy began to stagger under the influence of political victimization. Then it was weakened by corruption, nepotism, and a total disregard for the rule of law. Some people get offended when we try to keep our leaders honest here on Straight Talk. For them, we must not talk about Attorney General Garth Lucien Wilkin, who is the chief legal advisor to Dr. Drew, but who broke the law not once. He broke the law not twice, but he broke the law 3 times, my Straight Talk family. And we must not talk about that. Samuel Duggins, we know, broke the same law as well. Also the other lawyer in the cabinet. Then we hear about Mark Brantley and his CCM administration that for years continue to deduct monies, beg your pardon, from the salaries of civil servants, but fail to match their contributions and make payments into the Social Security Fund, my Straight Talk family. And that is true.
As regrettable as it is, I must turn to the next chapter and discuss the Social Security contributions that the NIA has collected but has not paid into the Social Security Board. This behavior is egregious. I have seen a letter from the senior manager addressed to the Nevis Island administration complaining of a whopping $9.1 million of contributions of the hard-working men and women of this country that have not been accounted for. I then looked at the date of the letter, only to be further stunned, since the letter was dated May 2022. It is not clear what the Nevis Island administration has done or is doing to remedy the dilemma, but the outstanding amount continues to increase. When many of our citizens attain retirement age, they may very well be heartbroken when reality hits and they come to realize that they have no pension. Our teachers, doctors, nurses, fire personnel, cleaners, you name it, they deserve better.
Yes, they deserve better. But so bad is the practice or the malpractice of Mark Brantley and his administration. The outstanding monies owed to the Social Security Board have now accumulated to an amount of $20 million. Not for severance pay, not for social levy. I am talking about the contributions that should be made and paid on behalf of the civil servants that are employed by the NIA. It even gets worse because the minister with responsibility for Social Security, Dr. Drew, has turned a blind eye to this criminal act and would want us to believe that the Social Security Board was in the red. My straight talk family.
Social Security is paying more out than it's taking in. It's not sustainable.
My straight talk family, the present day reality, you know, Dr. Drew, is that Mark Brantley and his CCM administration collect, as I said, contributions, but do not match them, beg your pardon, according to the law. And worse yet, do not pay those monies into the Social Security Fund. For that reason, Social Security must pay out more than it collected if Mark Brantley and his CCM NIA do not pay their contributions as mandated by the Social Security Act. And that's a criminal offense. And no man in this country, whether Attorney General or Premier, is so high that he is above the law. Ironically, these two men are both officers of the court and are therefore under the obligation to help to maintain public trust in the legal system, also to promote justice. Instead, they defy the law with impunity. And this is not for debate, because all officers of the government, from the highest to the lowest, are bound to obey the law. Dr. Drew continues to turn a blind eye to the transgressions of Mark Brantley and Garth Lucian Wilkin. And this does not create a culture of lawfulness for all citizens. Rather, it promotes strongman rule and permits power politics to prevail in our beloved land. Like John Adams, I will say that we need a government of laws and not of men. In the dynamic landscape of democracy, the media should act as a cornerstone, and it is expected to function as a fourth estate that serves as a check on power. Through comprehensive reporting, investigative journalism, and the pursuit of truth, the media should empower citizens with the information needed to make informed decisions. They must hold leaders accountable and actively participate in the democratic process. And the landscape of media continues to evolve with the advent of digital platforms and the rise of citizen journalism. The role of the media remains as crucial as ever in fostering an informed and engaged citizenry. Throughout history, the erosion of democracy has often been associated with a lack of transparency accountability, and the suppression of information. When Garth Lucien Wilkin can try to justify the concealing my straight dog family of an agreement in which the government of St. Kitts and Nevis has guaranteed a sum of $650 million for construction of houses by East Coast Housing Development Limited, a company that never built one house any part in the world, then it must be disingenuous to make a statement like this one coming from the Attorney General.
There are certain parts of a contract that involve commercial aspects, trade secrets that you cannot release, even if it's a contract with a government. And that is why the Freedom of Information Act had certain aspects that could not be revealed by way of an application under the Act. And one of them is commercial trade secrets. And there's a reason for this, because this company might have competitors. And the competitors might be able to get an unfair advantage. It's not about hiding anything. But certain things that the public, by way of an application on the Freedom of Information Act, cannot have access to.
My straight talk family, the Freedom of Information Act must remain a tool for the public to keep an eye on the government's actions. We have the right to know what the government is up to. The government cannot make decisions in secret. Neither can the government keep its records secret from us, except, of course, for limited situations like national security. My straight talk family. Because from oppressive regimes to clandestine operations, there are many instances of democracy being undermined by secrecy and deceit have occurred. Examine this blatant act of hypocrisy, where Dr. Drew has used the water crisis in St. Kitts to put millions of dollars into the pocket of one man. Imagine, according to Dr. Drew, a man came to him with an idea. And what was the idea? And who was this man, you may ask?
Water can. That idea was brought to me, Mr. Ashley Allen. Said, look, people on the water, why you don't think about giving them water tanks? Water which is a need. Why you can't give even those who are most affected a receptacle for water?
And my straight talk family, so Drew formalized the idea by passing it on to his project manager in the office of the Prime Minister, who happens to be the daughter of this man. And what happened? An exclusive contract was then signed to procure 1,000 water tanks. My straight dog family, 1,000 water tanks.
We have sent the fire truck, we have sent the water truck. We continue to send the fire truck, we continue to send the water truck. We have signed a contract to purchase water storage tanks. So at least when the water truck goes, they have a larger receptacle to store the water. I would also like to thank Mr. Ashley Allers, because he's the one who brought the idea of how we can help with the storage receptacles that we're going to launch.
And my straight dog family, so actually advance the idea. And Drew gives him $5.8 million from the Treasury to get what we call some big storage buckets or teacup tanks, which arrived last week. My straight dog family. Do you believe that? Again, Ashidalas advanced the idea. And Drew gave him access to $5.8 million from the Treasury to get these storage buckets or teacup tanks which arrived last week. And on the left on your screen, you will see the timber tanks, the teacup tanks, or the big storage buckets. On the right, you will see what is really a storage tank, which is placed and connected properly. Not like the one or the ones on your left, which are just, as I said, big buckets, my Straight Talk family. And what is the result? What has resulted, my Straight Talk family, is Ashley is smiling all the way to the bank. Look at his broad smile, my Straight Talk family. Broad smile. I'll be happy for you, Ashley. But we must talk about the process. You got an exclusive contract as a sole provider for tanks. Imagine that. My Straight Talk family, it brings me to the point that good governance for Dr. Jew is the ability to use his power as Prime Minister to circumvent the law. The procurement legislation is clear. Yet he starts, for example, the RLB with the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw Museum without a tender, my Straight Talk family. He started it through this announcement.
Currently it's under construction, and we're hoping, really pushing to see if we can complete it by September 16th. I know that's a lofty goal, but we are really pushing. If not, definitely we want to complete it by this year. We expect it to cost in the region of maybe about $4 million. Construction is going on, and to about maybe $4 million grand total at the end of the day.
$4 million. We understand that that figure has doubled to $8 million. No procurement whatsoever, but the engagement of Williams Architecture, Victor Williams, Lennox Warner and Partners, my Straight Talk family, Jenkins Construction, to it Peter Jenkins Engineer, beg your pardon, and Landscaping Architect, DreamWorks Design. And that's how it is done under the Jew administration, my Straight Talk family. And Dr. Jew himself makes a visit to see the museum. But we all must recall, my Straight Talk family, we all must recall that Attorney General Garth Lucien Wilkin advised us that our Procurement Act requires. Garth Lucien Wilkin informed us that our Procurement Act requires that there must be a competitive bidding process to ensure that the government gets value for money. He opined as well that the Act makes it a crime to spend money from the Treasury without the procurement process being completed. These are his words, not mine.
Our Procurement Act requires that there be a competitive bidding process to ensure the government gets value for money, and it makes it a crime to spend money from the Treasury without the procurement process being completed.
And my Straight Talk family, so the questions we ask. So Ashley Allers got $5.8 million from the government treasury without a competitive bidding process. So who committed the crime? We asked the Attorney General, Dr. Drew or Ashley Allers? This, Attorney General Garth Lucien Wilkin must tell us. My Straight Talk family, the rule of law is a political ideal. It is a way of behaving that is of a very high standard. It espouses the view that all citizens and institutions within St. Kitts and Nevis are accountable to the same laws, including lawmakers and our leaders. As it is said in simple parlance, simple expression or language, no one is above the law. And I always like the definition I found some time ago in the Encyclopedia Britannica that states that the rule of law is the mechanism, process, institution, practice, or norm that supports the equality of all citizens before the law, secures a non-arbitrary form of government, and more generally prevents the arbitrary use of power. It implies, therefore, that every person is subject to the law, including persons who are lawmakers, law enforcement officials, and judges. My Straight Talk family. And in conclusion, I submit that everybody should like transparency in government. The situation, the specter of elected or unelected officials making decisions behind closed doors makes it appear like it conjures up visions of corruption and would seem to signify government on behalf of private interests. For this reason, most democratic governments, to varying degrees, now operate under various laws and rules to promote openness. Freedom of information laws can become excuses, we note, for not disclosing information, as they contain exceptions as stipulated earlier. They become an excuse for secrecy. My Straight Talk family, if considered not solely an instrument of the government, but as a rule to which the entire society, including the government, is bound, the rule of law is fundamental in advancing democracy. Strengthening the rule of law has to be approached not only by focusing on the application of norms and procedures, but one must also emphasize its fundamental role in protecting rights and advancing inclusiveness, in this way framing the protection of rights within the broader discourse of human development. To be sure that the path to full democracy is always contested, we must collectively affirm that democracy is the only game in town, as it was once said. And we must do so now. We talk about the CBI and information on passport sold. It's important. And the new CEO just found out that importance, my Straight Talk family.
One of the things that we are looking at is the regular publication of statistics. That we believe also is very important and of great interest to our people. Well, things like the number of applicants, number of passports, the revenue brought in by CBI, expenses, it's all part of being transparent and accountable, because it's very important that something of this nature ought to be transparent. It's a program that confers citizenship on virtual strangers, people who were not born here. And so it's very important for us to inform the public of what is going on.
And my Street Talk family, we will soon find out. We will find out that there are more Chinese and Russians, my Street Talk family, more Chinese and Russians, I dare say, my Street Talk family, who are out there with our passports. We'll soon find out that when the numbers are counted, they are much more than us. We'll soon find out that they have bought all our lands, like they have occupied and really killed our mom and pop shops all around the country. They are in Newtown, they are in Irish Town, they are in Old Road, they are in St. Paul's, in Keon, all around the country, my Straight Talk family. Remember what happened in Nevis with that Russian who wanted to prevent access on the beach. How many individuals remember this last year?
A video of young primary school children practicing for their annual inter-primary sports meet on a public beach being interfered with by a woman who sought to disrupt their use of the beach has been brought to the attention of the Nevis Island administration. The behavior exhibited on the video is unacceptable and offensive.
My Straight Talk family, believe it or not, there are many Russian billionaires and millionaires and Chinese billionaires and millionaires with our passports. They will soon rain down on our country. Imagine one billionaire putting millions of dollars into our banking system, just like they have bought all our property. They are out there with our passports, and they are more than those of us who were born and still live here in St. Kitts and in the diaspora. My Straight Talk family, let us beware that is not being done until such eventuality. Until we take stock of where we are, we will remain a democracy in darkness after 40 years with the rule of law under duress. That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I'm not going to change it. I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. If you're so minded to call, remember the numbers are 869-663-6672. That's the local number. And or 646-829-6672. There are those of you who like the cloak of anonymity, and we give you access via our email platform, and the address is straighttalkpatches@gmail.com. That's one word, STRAIGHTTALKPATCHES@gmail.com. I always like to implore you, before I open the lines, to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, we must first respect ourselves. Let us ensure that the things we say and do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in doing and saying those things, my Straight Talk family, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's emphasize the fundamental roles in protecting our rights and advising or advancing inclusiveness, my Straight Talk family. Let us ensure that we move our democracy out of darkness and ensure the rule of law. At 12 past the 9 o'clock hour, we go to the lines, my Straight Talk family, and I thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller? Are you there, caller? Hello? Hello? Yes, my brother. Good night. How about thou?
Well, I'm here by the grace of God.
Thank you. Sorry for that mix-up. Thanks a lot. How are you, the Bible man?
I'm fine. I'm fine. But the word of God says in Psalm 41, blessed is the man that considereth the poor.
He shall.
In the time of trouble, the Lord shall deliver him. Mr. Patrick, whatever is going on presently now, God is looking on. The word of God says in Isaiah 2:4, holding the good and the evil. And I'm saying to you, Mr. Patrick, what happened in the Old Testament are happening presently now. There was a man in the Old Testament as a king. And God gave him a kingdom. And God tell him, must kill all the Amalekites. No left none. But he spared Agag. And when Samuel went to him, he said, I have done all I have done. So, what is? God told Samuel, I will get the king, Saul, to be king over Israel. And God told Samuel, get up out of your fears, because you are quite for Saul. And God, go down to Jesse's house. I got some man down there who will really look after the people them. And he tell him, do not go, don't look after the faces. I gotta look at the heart. But tonight I am saying by the grace of God that the Bible says, oh, give thanks unto the Lord for his good and for his mercy endureth forever. But people look at people because at the statue. But God, in his one, God changed. He take out and he choose the foolish thing of this world to condemn the wise. Mr. Patrick, you have a pleasant night, you hear me? Because God, there come a time whatever happening federally now, God is going to judge every secret thing. And you people have to give an account for everything. Catches, have a pleasant night and see you.
Have a pleasant night as well, my dear brother John, the Bible man. You know, my Stray Dog family, it's 9:17. If you just join me, we are looking at our caption for tonight. We are discussing our thesis for tonight. A democracy in darkness after 40 years. The rule of law under duress. My Stray Dog family. There's someone, I know you're wondering about my voice being hoarse, but I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for the concern, but I'm good. Remember, I'm a vocalist, so I'm good. I'm still a vocalist. But the lines are open. Again, if you're joining me for the first time, the numbers are 663-6672. That's the local number. And those on the overseas line, you can contact us rather on the overseas line, which is 646-829-6672. My Stray Dog family. And we'll take some emails. We'll try to juggle the emails and the calls as well. And this email reads, my Stray Dog family, Sam Conda, your outrageous and erroneous statement about Ambassador Ian Patches-Liebert has to be discounted in the strongest possible form or terms whatsoever. Last Friday afternoon, you stated that Ambassador Liebert was using his Straight Talk program to attack and abuse his boss, Mark Brantley, the then Minister of Foreign Affairs. You further stated that Mark complained to Harris and he did nothing. I challenge you, Sam Conner, to produce the evidence of Patch's recorded voice when he abused Mark Brantley at the UN. Mark said he complained to Harris about Unity supporters attacking him on social media, and Harris did nothing to stop it. Mark never once suggested in the slightest degree that the ambassador was one of them. He went further, Sam, to say that what happened at the UN with the female ambassador must be attributed to Patch's show. What nonsensical Nancy story you are telling us, Sam. That is foolishness. Seemingly your propensity to lie has overtaken you mentally, and obviously you know no better and cannot help. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, it's 9:20, you're live. Hello, caller?
Patches.
Yes, sir?
Patches.
Yes, sir.
Patches. Patches.
So you're live.
Patches.
I was telling that caller that he was live. He's probably not listening to me, but that caller, you can try the number again. It's 663-6672. Just listen to your phone and not to your equipment. But my Stray Dog family, as we said earlier, that in discussing our thesis tonight, we looked at our democracy, which is considered to be in darkness. And from oppressive regimes to clandestine operations, there are many instances of democracy being undermined by secrecy and deceit. And Straight Talk family. Democracy, as we stated earlier, let's go back to the lines. I'll get back to that. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
I've been listening to your show this evening.
Mm-hmm.
I've been listening to your show over the past couple of weeks. I have met with you, and I have told you what you're doing is wrong. You have brought and giving people the impression, all kind of things about my daughter.
Who's your daughter? Who's speaking?
Touches.
Mm-hmm.
Stop it. Touches. Stop it.
What about your daughter? No, please.
Touches.
No, let's have an intelligible discussion. No, don't get so emotional. Who is your daughter?
I am not emotional.
So,
all I'm trying to say, wait, and you're gonna listen to me now.
But but wait.
Wait.
No.
I am calling. Allow me to don't.
No. But no, I want us to have.
You're willful and you're doing stupidness.
No. But is this? No. Wait. Because you're gonna have a time to talk. Don't get so antsy. Don't get so antsy. Is this Ashley Alice?
Is the same way, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you are taking out your attacks on Dr. Joe because you said Dr. Joe turned away your daughter.
I said that tonight. No. Let's stick to the issues.
No.
You said I said something about no. Wait, I am gonna moderate this program, not you. You said Ashley Allers. I said something about your daughter. I said your daughter is the what's the term now? She is the manager, right? She is the project manager. Is your daughter the project manager in the office of the Prime Minister? Yes or no? That's a question. Is your daughter the project manager in the office of the Prime Minister? Yes or no?
I am calling and you look here.
But I'm asking you a question. You can have your say, but you made a statement earlier which is erroneous. I said that your daughter is the project manager in the office of the Prime Minister. Am I correct or not?
We are not going to go down that path.
But that's a question I'm asking you. So which path you want to go down? I'm asking you a question. I said tonight that your daughter is the project manager in the office of the Prime Minister. Ashley Allers, tell me if that is true or false.
Expose you.
Hello?
I expose you.
You told me what?
Stop it.
Stop what? Am I asking you?
What you're doing is wrong.
No, you mentioned about your daughter. You said I mentioned about your daughter. I said tonight, and I repeat it, that your daughter is the project manager in the office of the Prime Minister. Is that true or false?
You're sure. But you're willful and you know what you're doing.
But you're not answering the question.
Patches, you know what you're doing, Patches.
But what did not answer my question?
Okay, let me ask you a question.
No, I asked you a question. I asked the questions tonight.
No.
No. I
asked. You can't decide. What about the houses at Baker's Corner?
What about them?
Why one set of the buildings was out? And who signed the contract?
Which contract?
With the Venezuelan people.
The National Housing Corporation.
NSCA signed the contract and you know that.
Who signed it?
NSCA signed the contract and you know that.
You're digressing here, man. You just spoke about. Let's just talk about the big storage tanks that came in. Let us speak about the cost: $5.8 million for 1,000 tanks. That costs how many? What's the cost per tank?
That is.
But
I tell you, You chatting stupidness, I tell you.
But you, it's either we're gonna talk or either we're gonna have a discussion or not, Ashley Alice. I'm asking you again. I asked you 2 questions, and I'm asking you this for the last time. Is your daughter, isn't she the project manager in the office of the Prime Minister? Are you there? Okay, it's probably gone. I don't know what else to say. Your daughter is the project manager in the office of the Prime Minister. Tell the country if that's true or false. You got a contract, an exclusive contract as a sole provider for 1,000 tanks to the government. The Prime Minister said, this is what he said. The Prime Minister said, and I'm not fabricating, this is exactly what the Prime Minister said about Ashley Allos. He said this, and I'll get it for you right now. Ashley Allos, he said, gave him the idea about getting some tanks. I did not say that. The Prime Minister himself said that. This is what he said. Be with me, my Straight Talk family. I'll find the information for you. I'll find it right now for you. And this is what Terence Drew said about Ashley Allos, and he found, or he provided, or gave the idea about the tanks. Getting the idea of getting some tanks. What's wrong with my information here? I'll get it to you, my Straight Talk family. You know we always provide the evidence. Here's what Prime Minister Drew said about Ashley Allos and the tanks.
Water tank. That idea was brought to me, the Ashley Allos. They look at people on the water. Why you don't think about giving them water tanks? Water which is a need. Why you can't give even those who are most affected a receptacle for water system?
And he went on to say that he gave you a contract. Here's what he said.
We have sent the fire truck, we have sent the water truck. We continue to send the fire truck, we continue to send the water truck. We have signed a contract to purchase water storage tanks. So at least when the water truck goes, they have a larger receptacle to store the water. I would also like to thank Mr. Ashley Allos, because he's the one who brought the idea of how we can help with the storage receptacles that we're going to launch.
And that's what came from the lips of Terence Drew. He said he signed a contract. We later found out that the contract was worth $5.8 million for 1,000 tanks. That's about $6,000 per tank. And my maths is my strongest weak point. So tell me if I'm wrong, forgive me. $6,000 per tank. And they're not connected, but some big storage buckets, we call them. They're not tanks. They're some big storage buckets. And we asked the question, was there a tendering process? That's the question we asked. So you took the idea to Dr. Drew, and Drew formalized the idea. And I said, and I repeat, by passing it on to his project manager in the office of the Prime Minister. Who is the project manager in the office of the Prime Minister? Who is she? So Ashley advanced the idea, and Drew provides $5.8 million from the Treasury to get these storage buckets, which arrived last week. And I'm happy for you, my brother, as you continue to smile to the bank. But I asked a question. I asked a question in the context of what was said by the Attorney General. And the Attorney General said this again.
Our Procurement Act requires that there be a competitive bidding process to ensure the government gets value for money, and it makes it a crime to spend money from the Treasury without the procurement process being completed.
And that's the view of the Attorney General. You may agree or disagree. But the Attorney General, Garth, Lucian Wilkin, advised that our Procurement Act requires that there must be a competitive bidding process to ensure that the government gets value for money. He opined as well that the act makes it a crime to spend money from the Treasury without the procurement process being completed. So I asked a question, and I ask you, Ashley Allers, who got money from the Treasury without a competitive bidding process. And yes, we spoke about that. There was no competitive bidding process. So I asked the question, who committed the crime, Dr. Drew or Ashley Allers? And that question is to the Attorney General. As I said, the rule of law is a political ideal. It's a way of behaving that is of a very high standard. And all citizens and institutions are accountable to the same laws, including lawmakers, our leaders, and their friends. As it is said in simple language, no one is above the law. And I stand by that, my Straight Talk family. Let's take these emails and try to dispense of these emails, my Straight Talk family. Meanwhile, the lines are open. You are free to call us at 663-6672, 646-829-6672. And when you speak or when you call, remember, you have a voice, you have a view. But I will moderate the discussion. You can't, on that other end of the phone, determine how the discussion will be moderated. There's one moderator on Straight Talk. And I've been doing this Straight Talk show and moderating for nigh 14 or 15 years. So I believe I know a little bit about that. You will have your say, but don't just drop tidbits and run away. If you're going to speak about something, speak about something. You mentioned NHC, the houses at the Wellington Road. I never signed any contract as a minister for anything in government, because I know better than that. I was a permanent secretary for 9-10 years, so I know how the system works. So whoever signed the contracts for houses, go find them. And if Patches signed any contract for houses at the Wellington Road area, this will be my last night on Straight Talk, I can assure you. I am not like that other one who signed contracts and he says he don't remember. Everything I signed, I remember. So please, don't come with your cheap shots. That won't work on Straight Talk. That's not what Straight Talk is all about. Straight Talk is all about advocating the truth. Nothing but the truth. Let's read this other email. Patches, good evening. What is really going on at the post office? Read this email. Well, Patches, the Department of Technology was on a rampage and is still on my understanding for Congress to go well. We at the post office will definitely strike for her to go. That's Patches, Congress's auntie. Patches, imagine that woman is going on every single trip that comes up for the post office when it has absolutely nothing to do with her. Patches, that ain't bad. She is currently undermining the Postmaster General and is using the Deputy Postmaster General in her plot. Patches, she walks over our Postmaster General and takes the deputy on all the trips. with her, and the deputy has absolutely nothing good to say about her. He said she ain't, that's not for this program, why she can't take our postmaster general to those workshops. But she has gotten so sweet that she wants to fly first class, and because of that, she cut the deputy per diem until he couldn't keep it no more. He came back angry about it. She running the post office like it's her house. She has every transaction taking place at the Department of Technology, the same department that don't want her. Whenever we need anything to buy and any approval, we have to go all the way to the industrial site. This can't be right. She even have workers who are supposed to be working at the post office taking up space at the Department of Technology as if she don't trust us. But I don't expect that because she can't even trust her own Congress, auntie. My straight dog family need to go now. She needs to understand that nobody wants her. I don't know why Congress can't see what's happening because he keeps putting family over people, but he's going to realize when he give him a beating in number 3 come next election, and it will be too late, shall be your cry. Good night again. Patches reads this email. Caller, thank you for holding. You're live.
Yeah.
Hello, caller.
Good evening, Dr. Ian Patches Loybert.
Your humble servant. Your humble servant.
Okay, brother. Thank God for you. And more the thing, man. You can come to the phone. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Thank God for you, Patches. If it wasn't for you, none of us who listens to your program would have any idea what went on, what is going on, and what is continue to go on. So thank God for you, and you're straight. And the thing about it, you always have the evidence. So nobody could say, well, Patches said this. So I am so glad that everything you talk about, you have the soundbite to play. So when I say something and you talk about it, my voice, let people hear me say that, so then I can't come and say that you're wrong, and nobody could come and say that you lie. When you're in the program, straight talk, it doesn't matter who. When they're wrong, you expose them, you say it. And when they're right, you still say it. Now, let me tell you something. When you are going to pass your school, if your grandmother tell you, well, school over 3:30, and by 4 o'clock, make sure you're in the yard, because you wasn't living far from the school. And every day you come home 5 o'clock and after 5, and she only talking, and she not reprimanding you by what the Bible say. Bring up a child anyway, he should go. And when he's old, he will not depart from it. She only talking. That is, you're going to do that until you leave school. And when you leave school, you're going to stay later, and nothing has been done. Well, that is what's going on here in this country here. This Sesame Street, Mickey Mouse, bunch of, what should I say, disrespectful people say they're in government. Disrespectful to the taxpayers' money. Everything overseas, they're going away. They ain't going away, so we're going with me secretary and somebody to make notes. They're going with wife, keeper, girlfriend, all kind of people. All kind of people going just because what? Nobody holding the foot to the fire. It's only Dwyer and Stefan holding the foot to the fire. And Dwyer speaking like how he see it. And other people speaking too about it. And there is a popular DJ on a radio station. He said what political party he's supporting, but he talking like how we see it. And people might vex with me to say, Dwyer speaking like how we see it, holding the foot to the fire. But I got to tell the truth. I ain't watching no face. And whether you're back in Unity, PLP, CCM, PAM, Labour, whatever it is, as long as you speak the truth about what's going on in the country, I supporting you. So who want to vex? No, these people here just up and down the place. No, what he named the the agriculture minister. He went there to look at hot pepper sauce, and we got local people here doing it. Well, what you went away for? The pepper hotter than we want? Eh? It's just because they could go and use the money, taxpayers' money from the treasury, and go buy every plane they want to go. Go away, go enjoy life. Passing, eating good food, going touring, watching this place and that place and doing other things. They ain't supposed to do it. They should have got a man like Mr. Bratcher in this country here. Whether Mr. Bratcher was the Prime Minister or opposition, he know what we used to play. And that is what we want. People are only talking. What happened, man? It's time to call a motion on the confidence on this government here. Time to call it. Just like how they call a motion of no confidence on Dr. Douglas and went on the street. Even the snake in Nevis sent 3 letters up to the governor's house. 3 letters, and he said the governor walk over and walk on them. He didn't respond. But we hit the street. We ain't talk alone. What happened to these, yeah? When I rat drop in molasses, you can't come back out. Because squeak, you can't come back out. So it seems like who's supposed to oppose the wrong things that the government is doing? You come let the drop in molasses. Drew said before he get in there, the government going to be a government of public information, transparency, and integrity. And none of them they here exhibiting. None of them. And everybody see that he not exhibiting them, but everybody keeping silent and hushing. I get fed up, man. I get fed up, and I will stop. That is how to yield here, so big. He's hurting me. Hurting me, man. What the hell are they waiting for? Get a bank up on the street. That is good night. If I cool, I'll come back.
Okay, my brother, I can feel your pain. And yes, when we recognize what's happening and all that was promised about transparency and good governance, and to see that our government is operating under the cloak of darkness, we have to ask ourselves what's going on. I really want to highly commend the leader of the opposition, reads this email, the opposition NRP rather, for her recent comprehensive, erudite and sobering address, in which she pointed out and enumerated the premier reprehensible mismanagement and callousness in utilizing the Namibian taxpayers' money on all these unfinished projects. He should be ashamed of himself, but obviously he has no shame whatsoever. The man made a fool of himself when a journalist asked him about monies that he claimed was sent to NRP by Harris for the election campaign. The journalist told him in no uncertain terms that the leader of the NRP unreservedly and categorically denied receiving any money for herself or on behalf of the NRP from Harris or anyone in St. Kitts. The pathological liar Brantley did not answer the question posed to him by the journalist. Instead, he went on a tangent and said, "Oh, I am glad she find her mouth to speak now, because so long I have been calling on her to tell us about the time she was in the Virgin Islands and what happened there." What a stupid answer to the journalist's question, reads this email. It's 9:45, my Straight Talk family. If you have just joined us, tonight we are discussing the thesis, A Democracy in Darkness After 40 Years. And there are 3 issues that have come to the fore tonight, brought to the fore tonight, but let's go to the lines and get back to those issues. My Straight Talk family at 15 before 10. Caller, you're live.
Good evening, Mr. Live. How are you, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself? What about you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. You and your callers giving you a hard time there, man. You want to do some sleep or something?
He wants to come into my chair.
Anyhow, quickly on some things there. What is the capacity of these tanks that are given, the 1,000 tanks that were given out? I assume it's 1,000 of them.
I stand to be corrected, but I believe there are 400 gallons. I stand to be corrected.
400 gallons. So you have to confirm that for me, man.
Yes, I'll have to confirm that. I call them the big storage buckets.
Oh, I see. They want a handle? I only kidding if it's a bucket, you have on a handle.
It has two indented handles, I think they do have, yes.
Oh, I see. Okay, so like a bucket for children.
Yes. Or big
something else. I heard a DJ recently playing a soundbite from a former colleague of yours, a former cabinet member, who said that while you're in cabinet, you did absolutely nothing. Maybe you get up and explain to the world and to this person, your former cabinet minister, that exactly what you did. maybe he forgot or something.
Did you say a former cabinet member said that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That you did nothing during your term as a member, as a member of cabinet or as a minister. You did absolutely nothing.
It's interesting. But I interpret these things, as what I call metric language. When they say that in our days growing up, we said, "But that's a good song." In today's metric language, said that song bad. That's a bad song. It means they're good, So I could only interpret it that way.
You think you're talking young people language?
Yes. It has to be.
This was a young person. But other than that, I need to discuss something with you, not on air though. So how can I get your cell phone number?
Well, don't you have my number?
I used to have it. I don't think I have it anymore.
I mean, you threw it away. But I have your number. I'm positive about that, so I'll contact you, my brother. I'll send you a WhatsApp. I'll send you a WhatsApp with my number.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Anytime. I appreciate it. I'll give you a shout and discuss this issue.
I look forward to that.
Okay.
I always
have a good night.
Thanks a lot. I always look forward to your free education,
Oh, I'm an educator now. Oh, my.
Yes,
your tongue is sweet, eh? Good night.
Good night, my brother. Always good to hear you. Yes. No, yes, it's good. When you speak to certain people, as one who is a strong proponent of continuing professional development, I look forward to engaging some people because it's education and it's free, And if you can get free education today, you better take it. Remember, President Biden wanted to forgive all his student debt. You can get free education out here, so take it, my brothers and sisters. This at 11 before the 10 o'clock hour. Oh, how the time flies, my Street Dog family. Let's dispose of the emails. I have quite a few emails, so I'll probably try to dispose of them. I really want to highly commend, I think I read that before, didn't I? Yes, I think I read that email before about the opposition NRP. I believe I read that before. Every time I hear Mark Brantley say he cannot dance, but one thing you know for sure is that he's just a great talker. Every time he makes that statement, I always reflect on what my grandmother used to say. A great talker is a great liar. And I have proven Brantley to be just that. Let's go to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, yes, Patrick. This is Mr. Economy last look at time short and going. But anyway, let me say something here. Patrick, in the U.S. Virgin Islands and the British Virgin Islands, every household has a cistern. Some of them, they build a cistern out in the yard. And the yard is just a reef. Peter Island is a flat reef. J. St. John, every one of them has a cistern under the house or in the yard. And let me tell you something, Patrick. these water thing what they get here for these people. You still have to catch water from a pipe. I beg somebody go in a truck to bring water to fill them up. So it's just like you have a barrel in your yard and you fill it up with water. And when you want water, you go and dip out. And you go in your house or your yard and do what you got to do with it. And they still have to be careful. It must be covered with a cloth. Otherwise, mosquitoes are going to get in them and they're going to lay the egg. And that is more mosquito in the country. So what different it is? Me and my cousin-in-law, Mackie them in, when he was building the house over Canary, when the house on build, we build a cistern in the yard and the cistern collect the water from the roof like it is in those other countries. And you have to get a pump, work with electric to pump the water from the cistern up in the house. So this ain't make nothing easier for the people them. But it's just an opportunity and a way to give away, continue, give away money. Dr. Joe doing with this country here. Give away money. And he got to stop it. But he ain't going to stop it because nobody holding his foot to the fire. That's what he doing, Every time he a telephone ring or whatever, they say, well, boy, we're going to make black pudding. They go up on a plane. And nobody holding them, telling them, look, this is wrong. And you got to done with that. That is why he doing it. And that is why I draw the illustration like when you were going to school. People. This thing is wrong here. What the woman say when she go in the supermarket. How much these things cost? And the little mega money what people working for can't afford to support them. And then doctor you're going to say, well, the product that company manufacture, the price go up over there. So it's nothing they could do about it. Something you could do about it, brother. Something you could do about the money that you're wasting. Traveling, going here and going there, and paying Tom, Dick, and Harry, who done over the age of Social Security, and bring them back and give them $10,000 a month, paying them for the what? Just to say you're supporting people who support labor? That money could help to do something to reduce the cost of living in St. Kitts, and the people who are struggling. As a woman now, you know what they're doing? Patches the plane, me now go down the beg look no fish. But me not going down yard to go in a fish and a nabi and you know happen behind it. Because of our pressure, people don't want to do a lot of negative things. But pressure bust pipe and pressure make water go uphill. People have to survive. And they're doing a lot of things to survive. And it ain't supposed to be that way. Because St. Kitts is one of the most, what should I say, richest country in the OECS. When you look at the cost of living, I mean when you look at the money that people been paid, our minimum wage is higher than a lot of countries, but the cost of living is high, and something needs to be done to that. Anyway, I can't remember nothing else right now. So, Patches, if I don't get back, all the best to you. Watch your back, keep on watch your back.
My brother,
they throw you up the radio station, them. Oh, I got something that we're talking about. Now, the person, the cabinet member who talk about you, when you were up in United Nations office to talk about you having a program and said that cabinet member supposed to hush because when that cabinet member was second in command, he wanted to say something on the government radio station and he was barred from going up there by somebody who nobody voted for. He had to present his manuscript. Let the man read it and then tell him if he could go yes or not. But he never get to go. He had to go up on the radio station that he said need to go over Canary Dump. So he find himself there on the Canary Dump radio station. So when he talking about you up in Washington, you were talking to put people straight. And if he had something to put people straight, well, he didn't get to say it on the government radio station. So why he should lecture you where you was on your government radio station talking to put people straight and to hold the government foot to the fire. Pick out the beam of the oil first, brother, before you go criticize anybody. Pick the beam of the oil, that's what the Bible said. Brother Patrick, you have a good night. Thank God for you again. They can't stop you. Watch your back.
Thank you, my brother. I just recognize that I just got a little complaint here about my overseas line. I not certain why we're not getting calls to that line. I'm gonna ask you to try that number again for those who've been trying the number. My overseas number 646 829 6672. As we wind down tonight's programming, I believe that number is up and running. I didn't recognize that we had an issue with that line. So if you've been trying to get that number just before we wind down, I beg you to try calling that number one more time. It's 829 646. 646, beg your pardon, 829 6672. Yes, to my overseas listeners, I do apologize for that. I must admit I did not check the line before coming on air, and they seemed to be going to a voicemail. I don't understand why, but I guess it's a bit too late to tackle that now. But I must apologize to my overseas listeners who've been trying to get that number. Seems as if it's not functioning tonight. But the Good Night Patches reads this email. Don't forget the case with the bulbs. A contract was given to this person to bring in the bulbs, who in turn sold them to government. You remember, and this man is a big Labour supporter, reads this email. And this other email reads, my Straight Dog family, good night, Patches. It's a burning shame how Jew is such a hypocrite. I never thought he would reach a place in St. Kitts where we considered anyone worse than Douglas. Well, Douglas is a gem to Jew. Never have I ever seen, beg your pardon, such outright wickedness and blatant hypocrisy from a prime minister. Added to this, Jew has proven to be a big liar. He unpicks his media clowns to not challenge his action in the media houses. So ordinary people do not know what is going on. How can Garth talk about Procurement Act again after all the breaches against the procurement legislation? What hypocrisy! Added to this is the drama concerning the UN ambassador, who obviously has secrets that Duke cannot afford to have made public. This same ambassador was considered herself a high, morally correct person who was on the Labour-formed committee along with Isaiah Phillip and Leroy Matthew to write a code of conduct for the Labour Party. These people are all a bunch of crooks, reads this email. And this other email reads, Patches, how is it that we are not hearing from civil society about all these acts of victimization and corruption by the Jew administration? They only had strength for team unity, reads this email. Dear Mr. Patches, reads this email. Things in agriculture is bad. I am surprised with Samal and Miguel at the helm. When we farmers complain to him, all he says is, I have a plan. We have a big plan. Then he refers us to Miguel, who is a little boy who cannot deal with any criticism. When workers complain, they are transferred. Miguel has technical skills, but he is a dunce. He cannot manage a foul pen. Whenever I go to the agriculture department, workers pull me aside to tell me the horrors they are experiencing with Miguel. Miguel and Samal have killed the agriculture sector. Let's go to the lines at 1 minute past 10 o'clock. Call you live.
Yeah, Patches, good night.
Good night, sir.
I think I heard you say that, correct me if I'm right or whatever. Did you say that the ambassador gone back to the UN?
Yes, so I'm reliably informed.
This is from Straight Talk.
Yes, Straight Talk, yes. She's gone back to New York.
If you didn't let her go back, then she would take the government down too. This thing's a joke, man. This thing's a joke.
Dr. Joe owes us an explanation because she's in fact in New York as we speak.
Yeah, because he said there was they were gonna have some sort of hearing or something like that. When they said there was bringing out recording her.
She was recalled.
Did they say that?
Well, it said recalled for consultation, so no doubt the consultations are concluded. I understand.
And then there was.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And they were saying that he go or she go.
Well, I can't confirm that Dougie said that, but I can confirm that I think Dougie got in today, if my information serves me correctly. I don't know if he was there for the consultation, but I can't say that's what he said.
Right. And then the other guy, the cabinet secretary, that's not the first time he's been in some sort of problem, you know that?
Is not the first time he dealt with which problem?
It's not the first time he's been in problems. On the Facebook, he was on one before some guy, before this last one. Did you see that or didn't see that?
I didn't understand what the comment you made.
The guy in Nato.
Uh-huh.
He was in some problem. He's apologizing. He's apologizing.
You mean the ambassador?
Yeah, NATO.
Yeah, but you said cabinet secretary. That's what that.
Oh no, I'm talking about NATO now. NATO.
But NATO is the ambassadors. There are two NATOs. One is the cabinet secretary. One is an ambassador. You're talking about
the one. Yes, the one that was in the problem.
Okay. And what about him?
I think he was in some sort of problem before this last one here. Okay. Did you hear anything about that?
Well, I know there was an issue that he had during his stint at customs, but I vividly recall that the then director of public prosecutions did continue that case in the court.
All right, then, Patrick, you have a good one. Continue doing the job that you're doing, man. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, my brother. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks a lot for your input. Good evening, Patches. Reads this email. Your comments earlier about the CBI are worthy of attention by all indigenous citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis. I've been seeking to draw attention to the problem since 2013. I was very pleased to hear you echo the warning that I have been sounding for the past 10 years. You have described it graphically. I have been an untiring advocate for placing an immediate halt to what I describe as the sale of passports, or the sale of passport model rather of CBI, for the exact same reasons articulated by you earlier. I am saying this. I must stress that I have advanced a growth and development strategy that is designed to provide an alternative that is just as lucrative as the CBI. By following my alternative strategy, our country will still be in a position to have phenomenal growth while maintaining and retaining our patrimony for generations of unborn Kittitians and Nevisions. We will not ever be under the type of threat to which the original inhabitants led by Tegriman succumbed hundreds of years ago, reads that email. Good night, Patches. You can buy 2 1,000-gallon tanks with cover with that money, reads that email. Good night, Patches. Dog and all, better than us in St. Kitts. Dr. Drew continues to embarrass and insult us in this country. he sent back the crazy lady to the United Nations because he's afraid that she will expose him. St. Kitts is in a mess with his immature, arrogant, hard-headed leader, reads this email. And those are the emails we have tonight. I want to apologize. I just got wind of the fact that my overseas line, for some reason, it's not functioning, and I just don't have the time to sort it out at this moment. So I apologize for those in the diaspora who are trying to contact me via that overseas number. But my Straight Talk family, as we wind down tonight's program, remember that our thesis I titled tonight, A Democracy in Darkness After 40 Years. The rule of law under duress. I made the point, my Straight Talk family, or I tried to make the point, that in St. Kitts and Nevis, there has been a government, that we do have a government, I should say. Let's take this and make this my final call for tonight. Caller, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Can you use it?
Yeah, man, I don't need 30 seconds. I had to come back here, Patches. Patches, you know, as small boys, very small, and we got bigger sisters or bigger brothers. And they own a wife and a girlfriend. And they don't want us to tell our mother and the mother. They do a sweetie to hush. Well, something went down where they take back the lady, because they don't want her to expose them what she going to say. And remember, Dr. Joe was interviewed by a lady, and she asked him something about how the election went and how we go. And remember, he said, well, an election can be bought. And that's what happened.
Easily bought, he said.
Yeah, easily bought. He bought. And that's what happened. So, I don't know. Maybe she knows something about the election, how the election was bought, according to what Dr. Joe said. And he don't want that to come out. So, hush, man, here, hush. Let me greet you, pa, hush. But he gonna come out, you know, because what done wrong in the sight of God, he gonna come out, and people gonna know what went down. Because wrong things can only prevail for a short period of time. But he got to come out. Thank you, Patches, very much for the 30 seconds. What I had to come back and tell you that.
Thank you, my brother.
Until Thursday.
Thank you, my brother. Have yourself the best of what's left of tonight. And as we wrap tonight's program, A Democracy in Darkness After 40 Years, the rule of law under duress. And for those who joined me late tonight, I made the point that while compiling my notes for tonight's discussion, I could not help but to think about the main issue, or one of the main issues for tonight, which is the return to New York of UN ambassador and permanent representative of St. Kitts and Nevis to the United Nations, Her Excellency Nevis Dockery. We understand that the UN ambassador, who was recalled for consultation, threatened to expose all the dirty linen in Dr. Drew's closet and to bring down his administration. And I submit that Prime Minister Drew therefore owes to the Federation a full report in order to let us know why has the ambassador returned to her post after her despicable behavior at the United Nations General Assembly. Has she gone back to her post, or she has gone back to pick up her stuff, her personal effects in New York after the consultation? We also looked briefly at the long-standing, what we call reputable news organizations like the Washington Post, who have labeled the Israel-Hamas war. And we asked, how can it be a war when only one side has an army? We spoke of the Democratic Socialist Association, or Socialists of America, beg your pardon, which boasts 6 members who are representatives of the U.S. House of Congress. And their support for the pro-Palestine rally in New York on Sunday, yesterday, at Times Square. Condemnation of the assault on Israel have so far come from 2 CARICOM members of the United Nations, namely Jamaica, also Antigua and Barbuda, whereas St. Kitts Nevis has kept its silence on the matter. And that's not unusual, but it would be interesting to hear the CARICOM position, though it is difficult to condone violence of any shape and or form. But the world continues to be divided into competing spheres of Eastern and Western power, which many pundits believe has derived from a new Cold War, or coupled with the leftovers from the last one. The UN Security Council went into emergency session as member nations were once again locked into a global battle, pitting democracy against autocracy. Chinese President Xi Jinping cautioned that democracies are on the decline and that one day autocracies will run the world. He went on to say that democracies cannot be sustained in the 21st century. But that was my point of departure, as I agree with many pundits all over the globe that democracy requires consensus, unity, and it takes time. And in today's world, we do not have much more time available to us. And I came to the conclusion, because after 40 years of independence, the future of our democracy in St. Kitts and Nevis must give all of us great cause for concern. Think about what I call the commonality of problems in the world that affect all of us as we live in a global village, which was one lesson we must have learned from COVID-19. Think about poverty, my straight dog family. And poverty continues to leave a trail of destruction in its path. I made reference to the views of Psyche Southwell as it relates to poverty, my straight dog family, and poverty here in St. Kitts and Nevis. She said this:
Poverty remains a prevalent problem in St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is one of those social issues that, despite the fact I don't work in the field directly anymore, it is still near and dear to my heart. And in my opinion, the inequalities and injustices perpetuated by poverty are our greatest threats to growth, development, and sustainability. The very theme that is anchoring our entire independence for the year 40. It was through my membership, right, with Amartya Sen's Capability Society that I finally found and embraced an understanding of poverty that connected the dots for me. It connected the dots for me because it made sense in the world that reared me. And one of the things I left and take with me in every field, you hear me do a lot of things, everything that I do is how we understand the problems. And hear this. The way that we define problems directly shape the solutions that we put forward. Policies and programs often fail, and they don't fail because they are not good ideas. They don't fail because they're not well-intentioned. They fail because they don't actually match or address the problem at hand. And if we continue, my friends, to define poverty solely as a lack of income or a lowness of resources, every policy will fail. Every anti-poverty program will fail to eradicate poverty if we're only looking at resources.
And things are hard in St. Kitts and Nevis, my straight talk family. And this single mother cried out to Dr. Joe.
Imagine you go to the supermarket to shop, say for a month. You pick up 6 tins of milk, that costs you $30. You pick up at least a 5-pound packet of chicken wings, that's $22.50. Okay, local fish, $10 per pound. You say average about 3 pounds, that's $30. You have onion, garlic, egg, toilet paper, toilet soap, cooking gas. You buy a small tank, that's $30. House rent is about at least $700 a month. You got children, it's cereal. By the time you finish those first things that I call out, add up to about at $842. You want some some sweet potatoes, it's $5 a pound. You don't have a breadfruit tree, it's $5 for a bread. So you understand how hard it is for the basic pay, a little over $3,000 a month, and you have to spend that. Somebody who don't have their own house and parents, you have electricity and that stuff. You know, it's getting tougher and tougher and tougher. Imagine a little tin of sardine for $5. It's ridiculous, Mr. Prime Minister, and we really need a help, but we do have a rough time.
A rough time? But the government has provided no solutions. Dr. Joe could only address the cost of sardine, which according to him the government cannot control. And one of the reasons he advanced is that the trader has to make a profit. This is what he said.
When the sardine goes up at the manufacturer's end, we have to import that. We don't make sardine here, we import the sardine. If you have increasing food internationally, it will be reflected here. We can't control so much how much a sardine is bought for in America. And we can cut out all the taxes that we want. You can still come in at a cost, and the trader has to make a profit. They have to ship it.
The trader has to make a profit. They have to ship it. No solution to the problems of poor people. Climate change, the need to use renewable energy, our economic problems seem to be an impediment. Yet the issue of continuous government is also an impediment because of 36 megawatt solar farm stopped by this irresponsible government. And that farm could have been providing 36 megawatts of solar energy during our peak periods. A water crisis, my straight talk family. But we have a leader and a prime minister who speaks glibly, has made many pledges which we have found to be insincere and shallow. He speaks a lot about transparency and accountability, but seems to operate best under the cloak of darkness. He talks about integrity in public life, freedom of information, transparency, and the rule of law. But his actions contradict his words. From the moment Dr. Joe assumed the office of Prime Minister, our democracy began to stagger under the influence of political victimization. Then it was weakened by corruption nepotism, and a total disregard for the rule of law. Some people get offended when we try to keep our leaders honest. For them, we must not talk about A.G. Garth Lucian Wilkin. We must not talk about the sweetheart deal with his friend and my friend, Ashley Allers. Then we hear about Mark Brantley and his CCM administration not paying the Social Security contributions and owing near $20 million. My Straight Talk family, the present day reality, Dr. Drew, is that Mark Brantley and his CCM administration collect contributions, do not match them according to the law, and worse yet, do not pay those monies into the Social Security funds. A criminal offense. And no man in this country, whether an AG or Premier or a friend of the Prime Minister, is so high that he's above the law. My Straight Talk family, none, I dare say. Like John Adams, I will say that we need a government of laws and not of men. And in the dynamic landscape of democracy, the media should act as a cornerstone, and it is expected to function as a fourth estate that serves as a check on power. Not so in St. Kitts. They act like palace guards when you hear them advance their dolly house questions. My Straight Talk family, we have the right to know what our government is up to. The government cannot make decisions in secret. That's not right. Because oppressive regimes to clandestine operations. From these regimes, there are many instances of democracy being undermined by secrecy and deceit have occurred. We examine the blatant act of hypocrisy where Dr. Drew used the water crisis to put millions of dollars into the pocket of one man. That's what he did. He used the water crisis to put millions of dollars into the pocket of one man. One man who he said gave him an idea.
Water tank. That idea was brought to me, Mr. Ashley Allers. They look at people on the water. Why you don't think about giving them water tanks? Water which is a need. Why you can't give even those who are most affected a receptacle for water?
Yes. Give them a receptacle for water. So what Dr. Drew did, he formalized the idea. He passed it on to his project manager in the office of the Prime Minister, who happens to be the man's daughter. An exclusive contract was then signed to procure 1,000 water tanks. My Straight Talk family, costing the taxpayers $5.8 million.
We have sent the fire truck, we have sent the water truck. We continue to send the fire truck, we continue to send the water truck. We have signed a contract to purchase water storage tanks. So at least when the water truck goes, they have a larger receptacle to store the water. I would also like to thank Mr. Ashley Allers, because he's the one who brought the idea of how we can help with the storage receptacles that we're going to launch.
So Ashley Allers brought the idea. And what Drew does? Gives him $5.8 million from the Treasury to get these storage buckets, I call them, or teacup tanks, which arrived last week. My Straight Talk family, look at them and tell me. Look at the ones on the left. On the right, you'll see what is a real storage tank. The storage buckets are on the truck on the left, my Straight Talk family. But I'm happy for my friend because he's smiling. Smiling, no doubt, to the bank. So when you think about $5.8 million for 1,000 water tanks or big storage buckets. Help me with the mathematics. I got 5.8 thousand per tank. That's $6,000 per tank. That's a lot of money for a tank that has no connections. All it takes is the water from a truck to be pumped into it. My Straight Talk family, I made the point that the Attorney General got Lucian Wilkin, and I very well believe him, that the Procurement Act requires that there must be a competitive bidding process to ensure that the government gets value for money. And if there's none, then it's a crime to spend government's money.
Our Procurement Act requires that there be a competitive bidding process to ensure the government gets value for money, and it makes it a crime to spend money from the Treasury without the procurement process being completed.
And that's the question we ask tonight, my Straight Talk family. A simple, straightforward question. So Ashley Allers got money from the Treasury, $5.8 million without a competitive bidding process. So who committed the crime? Dr. Drew or Ashley Allers? The AG, Garth Lucian Wilkin, must tell us. But the rule of law is a political ideal. It's a way of behaving that is of a very high standard. It espouses the view that all citizens and institutions within St. Kitts and Nevis are accountable to the same laws, including lawmakers and our leaders. As it is said in simple parlance, no one is above the law. My Straight Talk family, as I wind down, everybody should need transparency in government. The situation of elected or unelected officials making decisions behind closed doors makes it appear like corruption and would seem to signify government on behalf of the private interests. For this reason, most democratic governments, to varying degrees, now operate under various laws and rules intended to promote openness. My Straight Talk family. The Freedom of Information Act, if considered not solely an instrument of government, but as a rule to which the entire society, including the government, is bound, the rule of law is fundamental in advancing democracy. My Straight Talk family. We spoke of the passport numbers that should come forward. And I warn you that one day we will find out that there are more Chinese and Russians out there with our passports, more than those of us who were born and still live here, in St. Kitts in particular. But that is not being done. And we have not seen or heard or know what are the numbers. And until, and if we remain this way, my Straight Talk family, we will remain a democracy in darkness after 40 years with the rule of law under duress. That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I am not going to change it. But I must thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, and as always, I thank you, the listeners, on social media, Facebook and YouTube. I want you to commit to spreading the link, sharing the link to your friends, your family. Share it all over the world. Because we have to expose the wrongs that are going on in this country. We have to get a democracy in the sunlight. Our democracy must not be allowed to remain in the darkness. But I want to thank all those who called, and I want to apologize for those who tried to get me on my overseas line. What on earth went wrong, I will tell you, but I apologize in the meantime tonight, my Straight Talk family. Those who sent emails and those of you who listen, remember all of you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I'm Ian Patches Liber and God's Spear. We will connect on Thursday for another edition of Straight Talk. Only till that time, be good to yourselves and to all whom you meet. Thanks for the advice. Thanks for those who protect me. But I'm washed in the blood. The Almighty God protects me every minute, every hour, every day. So when I wake in the morning, I want you to do the same. Thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Thursday.
When I wake in the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, to the Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day. My guardian to keep and my guide, over every step I take, He will preside. So whatever my mind conceives that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, be to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on,
Today I went in there and a can of sardine is 99 cents. Brunswick sardine. When I was in St. Kitts, a can of sardine cost that same kind of money what that lady said. So, the cost of living in St. Kitts is very high. And going back to my hurt that the government do me, Casper, it is so crazy because I come down to St. Kitts